In 1854, a band of bank bandits operated in San Francisco with such boldness and success that the financial structure of the whole city was threatened. Nobody's money was safe.
Our city marshal, right on time as usual. Tell me, Marshal, how do you always manage to arrive just as the bandits are leaving?
I'll discuss that with you some other time, Mr. Durkin.
Well, you won't be the first crooked city marshal we've had.
You try and get a doctor, please.
You'll not be in office long, Wayne. The Bankers Association will see to that.
The Californians.
California, I've come to live where life is best. In the Golden West, I'm gonna strike it rich in California. California.
Well, how are you feeling, Mrs. Snyder?
Just like anybody else with a busted head.
By some miracle, do you think you could identify the man who hit you?
Well, it's not by any miracle. Why do you think he hit me?
You mean you know him?
Of course. It was by the scar on his head.
Who is he?
He used to live on the farm next to mine when I lived down to Willowvale. He sold me eggs and stuff.
What's his name?
Why, he got that scar when he fell out of my apple tree. I put the bandage on his head. And now he's put one on mine.
Please, Mrs. Snyder, what's his name?
Comes from a good family. His mother's a nice woman. His father's dead. He's got an uncle that lives down...
By any chance, does he have a name?
Well, land's sakes, I'm trying to tell you. If you just let me get a word in slantwise. Or maybe I better not tell you. That's why he hit me on my head.
Mrs. Snyder, please.
It's Harris. Corey Harris. He lives with his ma on a ranch in Willowvale.
Where's the boss?
What for?
Matt Wayne's got a warrant for Corey Harris. He's on his way to Willowvale to arrest him.
Yeah, who told you?
Policeman who needed $100.
We have more friends on the police force than Wayne has.
Say, the marshal's not allowed to arrest people outside San Francisco, is he?
Wayne's a deputy United States Marshal. He can operate anywhere. Too bad that lady recognized Corey when we were robbing the bank, wasn't it?
Yeah. It's too bad.
Hit the rope at Willowville, Dan.
All right. Wayne's got a 3-4 hour head start on me.
Now just take it nice and easy, son. Wait until Wayne starts back here with Corey, and make sure neither one of them ever sees San Francisco again.
Marshal Matt Wayne from up San Francisco, aren't you?
That's right.
Judd Morgan. What are you doing down our way, Marshal?
Why, I'm looking for a man named Corey Harris.
Turn around. There he is.
Toast to me, the luckiest guy in the world. Struck it rich in the gold fields, married the prettiest gal ever born, got the best mother in the world, a lot of friends, a fine farm, and the world by the tail on a downhill pull.
Well, I'm so sorry that you all have to leave. You know, we just love to keep you
What's happening? Thank you so much. Uncle Judd! Uncle Judd, where have you been? We missed you. I'm so happy. Do I look it?
You sure do, sweetheart. Oh, this is Mr. Wayne of San Francisco.
How do you do, Mr. Wayne? Now, you two come over here and sit down. I'm going to get you a piece of our wedding cake.
Listen, Mr. Wayne, you're wrong about this, believe me. Don't do it. For her sake.
For her sake, I wish I didn't have to.
Mister, I wouldn't take $1,000 a month to do your kind of work.
That's funny. I've been offered more than $1,000 not to do it.
Mother, this is Mr. Wayne.
How do you do, Mr. Wayne?
Do, ma'am?
What's your business here?
I'm city marshal from San Francisco. And I'm afraid my business is to arrest your son.
Arrest? What for?
Suspicion of bank robbery and murder.
There'll be no shooting, Corey. You weren't raised that way. Let the marshal have his say.
I'm sorry, Mother, I lost my head. This is silly. I haven't been to San Francisco in a year.
That's the truth, Marshal. He's been in the gold fields.
And I've got the gold dust to prove it. Everybody in town's seen it.
Gold dust could be bought with stolen money.
I worked for it. A whole year in the diggings, dreaming of this day.
Corey's not a criminal. I've known him all my life. We grew up together.
And I raised him. My son is innocent.
I certainly hope you're right. Corey, saddle up a horse and include a blanket roll.
You can't, Marshal. You can't take my husband from me on our wedding day.
Nothing would give me more pleasure than to return your husband to you, if he's innocent.
Nothing would give you more pleasure than to put him in jail and collect the reward.
I don't accept rewards.
I've heard all about you crooked San Francisco marshals. You're going to sell my husband for money.
You're making an awful mistake, Marshal.
Let's go, Corey.
Taking Corey off your hands, Marshal.
If he's guilty, do you also want to share his crime?
He's no criminal. Neither are we.
You will be, if you obstruct justice.
We know about San Francisco's crooked courts.
I'm taking Corey to San Francisco. And I'm inviting you all there to see that he gets a fair trial. I'm coming through, gentlemen.
Goodbye, Lorna. Don't make me do it again.
I'm not saying goodbye, Corey. I'm going with you.
That's nonsense.
Why, Marshal? Is there a law against a wife going where her husband goes? You going to stop me? Shoot me, for instance? I wouldn't put it past you.
I can't stop you from going. But first, let me have the pistol.
I don't have a pistol.
Please hand it over. You're dressed all wrong for carrying a concealed weapon, Mrs. Harris. Thank you. All right, let's go.
Marshal, these handcuffs are hurting my ankles. Will you please take them off?
Nope.
Why, do you like hurting him?
He's charged with a felony. If he tries to escape, I'd have to shoot him. I wouldn't want to do that.
You'd love it.
You're not being very logical. If I wanted to shoot him, why wouldn't I do what he asked? Unlock him and let him make a run for it.
Because I'd be here to witness it.
I'm sorry you have such an ill opinion of me, Mrs. Harris.
This was to be the beginning of our honeymoon. Instead, you've got my husband chained like a dog.
I'm supposed to get him to San Francisco alive.
What if the vigilantes are waiting for me?
It'll be my job to defend you with my life.
I wish I could believe that.
You can't. Like your uncle said, he's framing me to save his badge. He's asleep. Try to get his revolver.
Would you shoot him?
No. Just bluff him into letting me loose.
Corey, you are innocent, aren't you? You didn't rob that bank.
You know how much I love you, Lorna. Do you think there was enough money in that bank in all of San Francisco to make me risk losing you? Oh, please, get me his gun. My life might depend on it.
You're hurting me.
What'd you expect? You didn't think I slept with my revolver loose in the holster, did you? I had it tied down.
I'll remember that next time.
There better not be a next time. Why don't you try and get a little sleep?
I'm going to set my husband free any way I can. I won't be sleeping, Marshal.
Want to bet?
That's right, scream! Scream good and loud!
Give me a gun, Marshal.
Not on your life.
Help! Stay where you are, Marshal! It's a trap!
Who are you, mister?
None of your business.
And what's your business? Robbing banks? Who sent you to bushwhack me?
It was my own idea. I hate lawmen, especially you.
Was Corey Harris in on the bank robberies with you?
I never saw him before in my life.
I never saw him before, Marshal.
What are you gonna do?
Cut this bullet out.
Thanks, Marshal. If I ever get out of this alive, I'm gonna kill you. But thanks anyway.
How is he?
Depends on how you look at it. He's dead.
Oh, He tried to kill you, yet you did everything you could to save his life. You actually seem sorry for him.
I was and am.
He's dead. Was the marshal right, Corey? Was he a bank bandit?
I don't know any bank bandits.
The marshal said he was going to help you escape.
He wasn't interested in me. Like he said, all he wanted to do was kill Matt Wayne.
He wanted to kill me, too.
Because you warned Wayne. If you hadn't, I'd be free by now.
Would you have wanted me to let that man kill the marshal?
All of a sudden, you've got a head full of the marshal.
He's a very brave man.
Are you growing soft about him, Lorna?
I don't like that, Corey.
I'm sorry, honey. It's just I'm so afraid of what's going to happen to me in San Francisco. It'd be different if I'd committed a crime, but I haven't. You believe that, don't you?
I have to believe that.
Second cell on the right. Hold it.
I hope you're satisfied, Marshal. I've never been in jail before, now I am. And I didn't do anything.
I'll give you every chance to prove it. Do you have a place to stay?
Yes, with my aunt on Larkin Street.
You better go over there before it gets dark.
If you don't mind, Marshal, I'd like to speak to my husband for a while.
All right. Just for a while.
I've got to break out of here, Lorna. I'll need a gun.
If you're innocent, why do you need a gun?
I've got a friend. Runs a locksmith shop. There's the address.
You might be killed.
I'll be killed anyway. Do you think I'll get a fair trial?
The marshal promised.
The marshal promised. Do you think he'll keep it?
I'm sure he will.
You Corey Harris?
Yeah, who are you?
Jeremy Pitt, your defense attorney.
Who sent you?
Marshal Wayne.
Jeremy Pitt is the best criminal lawyer in the city. Why did you send him to Corey Harris?
Because he's entitled to a fair trial.
As president of the bank that was robbed, I'm entitled to protection from these bandits. You are on their side, Marshal. I intend to prove it. This bandit will never be brought to trial. They'll keep postponing the trial until it's all forgotten. Then they'll turn him loose. We used to know how to handle criminals here. We had a vigilance committee, made short shrift of them at the end of a rope. Aren't there any vigilantes left? Yeah. Have we turned our city over to Marshal Wayne to do with as he sees fit? No! Then what are we waiting for?
Yeah. Are you sure you're doing the right thing?
I can't let Harris go on trial now. Public opinion's too dead set against him.
I know, but every day's delay makes it that much worse.
Marshal Wayne, you said you'd defend Corey with your life. Why aren't you doing it?
What's the matter?
There's a mob on their way over to the jail now to get him.
If any of you make a move to that door, my men have orders to shoot.
Our men can shoot too, Marshal.
Is this your idea of preventing crime, killing policemen, or being killed by them? What about the rest of you men? Do you want to risk your lives because a man like Durkin doesn't want to let the law take its course? You know, my men and I are paid to risk our lives. But who's paying you to die? Tom Durkin? All right, men, scatter.
Next time, we'll bring more men.
Think they'll try it again, Matt?
They will if Durkin can stir them up enough. Hey, why is he doing this? He's never shown any public spirit before.
Oh, I know I'm late, but may I see my husband?
You certainly may. Stay as long as you like.
Thank you.
I thought it was after visiting hours, Matt.
Well, this is a special occasion. She's delivering a pistol to her husband.
How do you know?
I've had her shadowed ever since she came to town. Today, my men saw her pick up the gun.
Aren't you going to take it away from her?
The turnkeys going to act awfully surprised and scared, and then he's going to let them out the back way.
Matt, you've no right to do this.
What are you complaining about? You wanted him out of jail, haven't you? Corey and Lorna are going to help us solve this case.
Come on, why don't you get him?
Impatient, aren't you? He's here, boss.
Oh, thanks, Mr. Durkham. I knew you wouldn't let me down.
Of course not, son.
Corey, that's the man that set the mob against you.
That's right.
Why, Mr. Durkham?
We can't afford to let you live. You might weaken and mention names.
But I've been loyal to you. I did everything you asked me to.
And you were well paid. Your only mistake was in permitting yourself to be caught.
Then you were one of them.
Mrs. Harris, you've been a great help to us. I'm sorry we can't let you go.
Robbing your own bank was an ace in the hole. It really had me fooled, Mr. Durkham, but you overplayed your hand.
You're setting me free?
Well, I convinced the district attorney that you did what you did out of fear of mob action against your husband.
It was that. And something else.
What? What else?
When I refused again and again to get Corey a gun, he accused me of being in love with you.
Well, Lorna, it isn't that you fell in love with me. You fell out of love with Corey.
I'm going to have my marriage annulled.
And someday, pretty soon, a boy your own age will come along and...
I don't want any more boys. I want a man. Now, how long do I have to stand here throwing my heart at your feet before you admit that you love me too?
What kind of jail are you running, Matt?
Huh?
Uncle Judd is taking me home. I want to thank you for everything, Marshal, especially for convincing a girl she wasn't in love when she was and still is.
Lorna.
And if the truth were in him, he'd admit that he was in love too. Just a little bit, for just a little while. Uncle Judd?
Goodbye, Lorna.
Matt, as a man of truth.
As a man of truth, all I can say is that suddenly I feel kind of empty.
California. Oh, I've traveled here, I've traveled there. I guess I've been most everywhere. But I like where I am today, and here is where I'll stay. Now, one thing I just can't endure is being broke and being poor. So I come west to take the cure, and here is where I'll stay. I've come to California, California. There's gold in them there hills in California. I've come to live where life is best, in the golden west. I'm gonna strike it rich in